mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. Say it faster. Oh my God. Welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. It's your mom and dad. It's your mom and dad.
It's mom and dad.
Family, happy Wicked Week. This week, Wicked comes out for all my musical theater people.
Okay, I thought it was like an actual thing, and you were gonna launch into like 1,300 years ago.
Wicked Week.
Wicked Week.
No, I mean Wicked
the
Week
like before Thanksgiving. You know.
No, the music, the musical. Okay, Wicked Week. Wicked comes out for all my musical theater
Isn't that
people.
Wicked?
It is Wicked.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought
Nice
so.
work.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That's one of the songs I hear.
Whenever I hear that now, though, unfortunately, I will think about the Bachelor date when they did the Wicked Bachelor date.
Oh yeah,
Kind
of soiled it a bit.
A little bit, yeah. I love Wicked so much.
It's kind of like when someone you don't like gets really into something that's kind of special to you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, maybe I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, where I'm like, Bachelor,
you see them
please.
post like, been into this lately, and you're like, what?
You're like, Bachelor,
I'm into that.
Please.
No one knows I'm into that.
Please
Are
don't
we the same?
Please don't touch musicals, okay? Those are sacred. You're going to ruin it for me, okay? But I'm hoping that seeing Wicked will then, I'll feel great again.
Absolutely.
So looking forward to that. But I had to share, because it's Wicked Week, it's musical theater week, I had to share that our daughter, Ember, actually is writing her own musical as we speak. And so what I'm saying is, speaking of Bachelor, Captain Kim, you better watch out. Okay. You think you're out here writing grade A level songs, professional songs. Well, my daughter is out here. She is writing the script. She is writing the music.
She's already cast.
She's already cast.
Already been cast.
Her school, she's got all her friends who are in all the parts. And now, are the songs other songs with different words? Yes. Is her main song "There Is a Castle on a Cloud" from Les Mis, but with different words about like a girl going to school, like she is here to see her teacher?
Right. Well, I mean, the great artists steal. Great artists steal. You know what I mean? They always say it's like imitation. You know what I mean?
But the title. So she comes home and she's like, Mom, Dad, guess what? I'm writing a musical. And we're like, oh my goodness, congratulations. This is amazing. We're so happy for you. Musical theater is in your veins. It's in your blood. Like, you love to perform it. Of course. Let's get into the writing of it. And she's like, I already have a name for the musical.
Yeah.
And I said, what's the name?
Yes.
And she said, it's called My 28 Years.
I think you're off a little bit. It's 28 years of my life.
28 years of my life. Yes. 28 years of my life.
Specific number.
And I said, why? What inspired that? And she looked at me like I was the biggest idiot on the planet.
Like,
it was like, are you questioning my art? Are you questioning my art 28 years of my life?
Yeah. And Ember's a big idea person, not a big implementer.
Sure.
So she's kind of one of those that like it's cast before it's written.
Well, sure.
And what she's written is like 2 lines. You know what I mean? And it's like, I went to the school and here I am. And then she's like, I have a play. It's ready.
There's more
and
than
I'm
2
like,
lines, and there is a song. There is a song. Again, it's
but
the castle on the cloud
how far
melody.
is the song written? Is like 1 line of the song?
Well, I'll tell you what. No, she's got a solid
knowing our
verse
daughter,
in there.
here's what's going to happen at school. She's going to get the whole cast.
Yes,
They're
the
gonna
whole
line
class
up,
will be involved.
and she will have no details worked out, and she'll wing it on the spot. And she'll literally be like, all right, you go over here, and then you're over here, and then this happens, and everybody's like, why is this happening? It's like, don't ask questions. We're just doing this thing.
But I will tell you what she has planned is where the location of this musical happens. She let me know. She said, Mom, do you know where this musical takes place? I said, where, Ember? And she says, Rome, the city of love.
False.
I said,
Just made it up.
And I said, do you mean Paris?
Yeah.
And she goes, no, Rome, the city of love. And the first line in the musical is the main character, Julia, goes, I love Rome. You know, the city of love.
Yes.
It's incredible.
I mean, it's incredible. And Ember,
it's a 10. It's a 10.
She will die on that hill too. She'll be like, no, that's actually what it's called. And we'll be like, no, Ember, it's not. She's like, yes, it is.
She's an artiste.
She's an
artiste. You know what I mean?
You can't question
I'm
the artistic
sure
direction.
you know how she loves fromage, how she dressed up like cheese for Halloween. I just picture during this musical 28 Years of My Life set in Rome, the city of love, there will be a number to the melody of Castle on the Cloud where there's a chorus line of dancing cheese, like people in cheese costumes. It'll be like the whole, you know, the tastes of Rome, the cuisine of Rome, and there'll be a lot of mozzarella.
You're watching and going, am I crazy? Or is everything factually wrong here? I'm being gaslit into think everything here is correct, but my mind is telling me everything I've learned in my entire 28 years of my life is telling me that everything is wrong.
It'll take place in Rome, the city of love, and the chorus line will be a bunch of Swiss cheese, and you'll be like, this is not the cheese from Rome. And I'll be like, yes, it is.
This is Roman cheese.
Like,
cheddar, the Roman cheese. And you're just like, okay.
Anywho, you know,
what a character.
I'm just so proud, and I can't wait to see the 28 years of my life, or 28 years of my life, performed on the Broadway stage. I'm just letting you all know about that now. You're thinking about Wicked now. It's Wicked Week, but what you really should be thinking about is this is the week that 28 Years of My Life was created. And so, you know, in 28 years, when 28 Years of My Life is on the Broadway stage, just remember this day is all
Beethoven was writing symphonies at like 10.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is kind of Ember's, you know, symphony. This is her moment.
I know, fam. I
know.
You
just wait till when the king hires her to write plays for his court. You know what I mean? She'll be, welcome to 28 Years of My Life. All the dignitaries and ambassadors will be sitting.
Anywho, fam, hello. We're doing a call home today because we haven't talked to the fam in a long time.
It feels like, honestly, probably 6-8 months. Something
and
like that.
I sent out the bat call last week, and I said, please, my greedy self needs some of your spicy stories with all the romantasy I've been indulging. Family, will you send me some spicy stories? And guess what? The family delivered. Okay, the family. I didn't know if anyone was going to send any spicy stories, and we got a few. So what we thought is we could play a few during this episode. We want to spread them out for your enjoyment. So we got a few that we're going to play at the top of this episode, and we'll play some more in some future episodes. But then after that, we have a bunch of questions from the family that we're going to dive into.
Love it
covering
so much.
Family, relationships, cheating, all the things.
All the good stuff.
So, all the good stuff. So let's dive into that. But just want to give you a heads up, family. Your father and I are very excited because please stay tuned for next week when we will be having a D&D episode. We will be having a D&D episode, and I cannot wait. It has been a hot minute since we've played, and we have some special guests that I know you will all enjoy very much. It's going to be a silly, wild time, and I cannot wait. So that comes out.
We'll be recording it at night, in which we will be enjoying beverages.
Partaking, yes.
So it's always a good time.
It will probably get a bit unhinged, and considering all the romantasy that I've been reading, it might not be safe for work. You know what I mean? You might not be able to listen to it at work. So that's next week. Please stay tuned for that. And we can't wait. We cannot wait. But let's get into this, shall we?
Yeesh.
First, we got to take a quick pause. Oh, also quickly, speaking of the spicy stories that we're about to jump into, the first chunk of this episode might not be safe for work. You know what I mean?
True.
I'm just saying. Sometimes I have to let everybody know. Sometimes,
if you got the kids cruising around while you got this episode,
you know what I mean?
We're
having a couple spicy stories at the top. So maybe, just as a heads up.
Yes.
I figure I'd give a little.
I love that. I love a little not safe for work episode every once in a while.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just a couple stories
just for
at the
you,
top.
your little naughty ass self.
Exactly. Okay, family. So, like we said, we got a few spicy stories from the fam today. And speaking of that, a while back, I purchased an app on my phone that is like this pair of dice that you shake, and it prompts some spicy time between you and your partner. You know what I'm talking about. And listen, Evan and I had a great time with the dice the one time, right? It was great. It was great. But what I didn't realize is that I was going to be paying for said app dice every month for a while, and we didn't need them that much. Okay, we didn't need the spicy dice that much. Well, thankfully, my savior Rocket Money made me aware of the fact that I was still paying for this app monthly, and then guess what? They canceled it for me. I love Rocket Money so much. If it wasn't for them, I'd be wasting a whole bunch of money every single month. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings.
Yeah, we honestly can't say enough good things about Rocket Money. They are essential in our house. With Rocket Money, you can see all your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. And for any you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them with just a few taps. Rocket Money's dashboard is amazing. It gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. You can easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to help keep your spending on track, see your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going, and get alerts if bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over budget.
I'll tell you what, those alerts have saved me many times. They have really had my back. I also love the new goals feature they have. It automatically saves money for you without you having to think about it, whether your goal is to pay off credit card debt, put away money for a car, or just build your savings. Rocket Money makes it easy. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. I'm telling you, they have saved us a lot of money every single year since we started using them, and we are obsessed. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/momdad. That's rocketmoney.com/momdad. rocketmoney.com/momdad. Okay, should we hear from the family? I think I have 3 spicy stories to go over. Okay. Should we get into the spicy stories first?
Yes,
let's start it off with a little bit of spice. Family, let's get a little spicy this morning. Let's get a little vibey this morning.
Remember, you can always call home.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hello.
You have asked for our wildest hookup stories, and I have one for you. I'm currently hiding in my car to record this because my mom is visiting and staying with me, and there's no way I would tell this story to my actual mom and dad, but for you two, anything. So, I was leaving a restaurant after dinner one night, and as I was walking down the sidewalk, a fire truck pulled up with the sirens and everything. Whoa. All the firemen poured out of the truck, and one of them was so beautiful. He was so hot, and I just caught a glimpse, but I just knew I had to make a move. So I wrote a note describing him and saying, "Hey, give me a call." And I wrote my number down.
Dang.
And I taped the note to the window of the fire truck. A few hours later, I get a text from an unknown number. It's the fireman. We are flirting for a little while, texting back and forth. And then he says, I don't want to lead you on. I am engaged, but my fiance and I really enjoy having threesomes if you're into that sort of thing.
Whoa.
And I said, I am into that sort of thing. So he said,
dude, is this a
all
book?
right, let me talk to, I'm not going to say the name, but he said he was going to talk to his fiance. And the name of the fiance was an ambiguous name, could have been a man or a woman or other. And so I had no idea, what this couple was going to be like. Didn't even know the gender of the fiance, but we arranged to meet up for a date. I get to the date. It's a few days later. They took me out to a restaurant, and his fiance was a gorgeous woman. So gorgeous. They were both so fun, so lovely. We had oysters and cocktails, and then they took me back to their place, and we had a fantastic night together.
God.
It was so perfect, so hot, just like one of the best hookups ever. And at the end of the night when I was leaving, I said, if you ever want to do this again, just hit me up. I'm totes avails. I said totes avails. And then I was dying of shame. I was like, how embarrassing. I never talk like that. Why did I say that? But they did contact me again. So I guess I didn't totally screw it up. But sadly, I had found myself in a relationship by the time that they reached out again. And then I moved across the country. So I have not seen them again, but it was a lovely time. And yeah, this is your sign to just tape a note to the side of a fire truck if you see a hot fireman, because you never know what's going to happen. I love you guys. Bye.
Wow.
I mean, are you kidding me?
I thought we were headed in a very different direction when she said,
When she said,
He's
I don't mean to
engaged. I
lead you
was
on, he's
like,
engaged.
here
I
we
was like,
go.
oh no,
Here's
this
the
is good. And then it ended up being just this fantastic, just like an incredible night.
wow.
I mean, doesn't even feel real. Especially too,
Talk
like,
about no regrets. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
that's
You're
the
a no
thing.
regrets person.
And I live, especially too, it doesn't even feel real when it's like, when as soon as they were saying the fire truck pulled up, I'm like,
Yes.
okay, the firefighter
Yes.
thing, like, okay. And then you tape the note. And then it
And you're
happens
like,
in this gorgeous.
not the other guy, just as a head. Like, I like the idea of her like specifying, like, just as a heads up, there was also another guy with brown hair, not him.
Please, not him.
He had a tattoo on his left arm, 100% not him. So just, if you're that guy, don't read this. Guy's like totally hurt.
But then the fact
Yeah.
that the hot firefighter contacted you and the hot firefighter happened to have a gorgeous fiance who wanted to be with you in that way.
Wow.
I mean, I'm very flushed right
Wow.
now. That is, okay, what this is just, it's an example of really putting yourself out there. Like
It's
she was saying, she's like, tape that
absolutely-
note to the fire truck. Like,
Worst
what-
case scenario, you never hear back from the note.
Exactly.
Best case scenario, you end up on a threesome with some hotties. You know what I mean?
That's the thing about it.
So it's kind of like best case wins out, worst case all day in most scenarios when you think about it.
That's the thing. It's like next time, you're
You
out
want
at
the job, you want the person, you want the lot. Well, you just go ask for it, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But best case, it's way incredible.
next time you're out at dinner and the server comes over and you're like, oh, that person's super attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you're not comfortable leaving your phone number,
Right.
leave an email.
Right.
Create an email just for this
Leave a
circumstance.
fax number.
What I'm saying is create an email just for these situations.
Yes.
Like dates at your name.
Yes. Yes.
What I'm saying.
Hot
then they
hookups at your name at Hotmail.
So then that way you're like, oh, they don't know too much about my personal life. They don't have my number. And then they can just send me an email and I can keep all my dates and you can just put it all out there for everybody.
Now, what's interesting is I wonder if they had been sending pictures back and forth or if his first visual of her was when they met at the restaurant.
I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
'Cause that
I bet there were
creates-
pictures
they had to have, like, hey,
that
show
were
me your
exchanged.
Instagram or something, right?
I bet there were pictures that were exchanged.
Wow.
Wow, that is inspirational.
Listen, I am blown
and
away.
I am absolutely tickled to the tips of my toes.
I am blown away. That was hot.
I asked and you delivered beyond. Like,
But you're also like really cool. You know what I mean? Like you could tell the cool vibes because it's kind of like, and then, I was in a relationship and then I just kind of moved and I never talked to him again. And they're kind of like maybe there, like I could hear you could slightly put them on a pedestal when you were like, I don't, I was nervous with the way that I said
I
totes
love that you said
or whatever.
totes avail. That's
totes
incredible.
avail, but that sounds like you're the one that got away.
100%.
You know what I
Because
mean?
like, think about this.
Because they hit you up and then you said sorry.
This gorgeous hookup, and then you're like, yeah, I don't live here anymore, and I'm with someone else.
Yeah.
And for you, it's just like this night that you'll always have this cool memory of, and yeah, you might be the one that got away for them.
Dang. And just
Power
know that whenever
move.
you're like in town to that wherever you were, there's an opportunity there.
Exactly.
Wow. Incredible.
Wow. I mean, absolutely tickled.
No, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
All right, let's hear
Next.
another one. Ooh, let's hear another one.
Hey, Mom and Dad. This is your daughter, Marissa.
Hi,
calling
Marissa.
from North Carolina. I heard that you guys wanted some hot hookup stories, but I wanted to tell you about the spooky way that I lost my virginity at 16 years old.
Is this a ghost?
I actually lost my virginity in a cemetery.
Ugh.
So that's hands
Jesus.
down the craziest place I've ever hooked up, and it was also the first time I ever hooked up. But a little bit of backstory: we weren't just like, hey, let's go fuck in a cemetery. We were only there because my boyfriend at the time knew of this secluded area because he actually did the lawn care for the cemetery.
So he's like, come back to work,
we drove up
baby.
there to have a little bit of alone time, and push comes to shove and all that good stuff. And it was also Friday the 13th, which wasn't planned, but like, holy shit, how spooky. Anyways, love you guys, love the podcast. Talk to you soon.
Love you, Marissa. This is like your...
Do you have sex in an open grave?
Marissa,
Just to complete the whole thing?
this is like the origin story for like your dark romance energy. You know what I mean? To have sex for the first time in a cemetery on Friday the 13th has to be some sort of world universe energy colliding force that is now pulsating through your body. Like, what magic powers do you have? What, I need to know. There has to be something there. And if you're not aware of it, there's something there. You've got some sort of like witchy magical energy happening
that night, Well, I will say that when you think about it, when you're young and you're trying to hook up.
Yeah.
You're always trying to look for places to do it, right?
Yeah, like we used to always be in a car because it'd be like, okay, we can't be at home.
If you're in a car, there's a chance a cop's going to knock on your window. If you're in like a Walmart parking lot or something,
of course,
right? You're always kind of looking for places to escape.
Also,
to hook
a car
up.
is not spacious,
ergonomically
typically.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
But you know where no one looks? Crypts. Except the crypt keeper. So that's your only danger.
Or the lawn man, and he was the lawn guy.
No, but it's at night. They're definitely hooking up at night. So it's like old Greg or like, old skin man or something, like this creepy old
Jeremiah who runs the grave.
Yeah, the crypt keeper who sleeps in open graves. He's the only one that might, but he probably wouldn't bother you. But I gotta say, that is to be so horny to not kind of think to myself, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if this is turning me on because it's so creepy. That's
and
called
Friday the 13th.
That's called you're just raging. You don't even care if you're on the moon at that point. But I feel like
the moon would be awesome with no gravity.
Wow, I gotta say though, that is definitely creepy, but also like definitely like young love energy where you're just like, I don't even care
also,
where we are. If
like,
we're in a dumpster, let's just get it.
Listen, all of these books that I've been reading, all of my fantasy romance, I've been in the genre lately of, villain gets the girl, villain is god of the underworld. I don't know how many books I've read now in a row where the main character who's a man or is a god and he runs the underworld. And it's always the god of death. It's the god of the underworld. So honestly, like this is just, it really falls in line with my energy lately.
Yes. Very horned up underworld people.
Dancing with the devil, with the demon. We have a cemetery across from us. Maybe you and I should explore.
We do.
Later.
That's a part of my dark fantasy I'm taking you on this year. Also, the spirits, let's be real. The spirits, house spirits get a lot more action. They're seeing people live lives.
Yes, it's true. The spirits in your home, they're seeing you take your work calls. They're seeing you hook up with your partner.
Live life, cry.
The cemetery spirits,
they're bored.
They can't.
Out of their minds.
Their voyeurism is limited.
Super, and they're chilling, and they know that no one wants to fuck in a cemetery. So they're like, we're never going to get any action. All we get is people crying all the time. It's super sad, super bummed out.
So honestly, you
We're
probably bless them.
So they're still talking about it.
To this day,
the spirits, because spirits don't really they already did, so they don't really like re-die. Or I don't know the lore, but they're still talking about like, when can we start some sort of graveyard orgy? How do we get a marketing campaign? I do feel like there's something to that, which is like a crazy like orgy where like you go to a graveyard. I mean, I do
there
feel
has to be underground stuff like
there's
that.
If there isn't, that is an untapped market that a lot like the mask parties or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes,
like where people have
yes,
what do they call those?
Yeah, I forget the name of it. Yeah,
but you know what I mean? Like a movie party. You know what I mean? That's like there's something to the graveyard energy.
Yeah, there's definitely groups out there who are meeting up and going to the cemetery.
Well, congrats on that. Great story. I mean, listen, life's about stories. And when you're 65 years old and you're sitting down and you're chatting, that's a good one.
Also, fun fact, I thought for almost my entire life that I was born on Friday the 13th. Because my birthday is October the 13th. And so my whole life, my mom had told me that I was born on Friday the 13th. And I'm like, oh my God, I was born Friday, October 13th. Like that is the ultimate level of spooky. And you know, I loved it. Yes. I would tell everybody and
you're not going to question it or try to look it up to disprove it either.
And so I lived for that like spookiness. Yes. I'm like, oh, it's just who I am. Like I love like the darker side of things. Like I'm very spooky.
Yeah, I'm so spooky.
And I thought I was like so cool and different. Well, then I found out when I was, this was maybe like 2 years ago when I was putting in my information and it shows you then what day
it actually was.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. That sucks.
I was born on Thursday, the 13th
Yeah,
of
which
October.
is not the same at all.
I was devastated. Do you know how many people I've told in my life that I was born on October, Friday the 13th?
That's what I thought. I mean, you told me that.
My whole life.
Yeah.
That's what my parents told me. How did they not know it was a Thursday? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like my mom. It's the same thing. She's like, I'm like, I remember texting her one time, like, when was I, what time was I? She was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Or like, I thought it was like 6 a.m. forever. And then it's like 11 p.m. You know, it's like, they don't know. Also, real quick, just before we continue on, did she specify where they had sex? Like
no, just cemetery.
Just cemetery. So that's another thing is that there's a lot of different versions of the sex in the cemetery.
Sure,
there's open grave. There's
I do not think that
while someone is burying you alive. There's kind of a fantasy there. So there's the buried alive fantasy. There's the like in one of those like houses. What are they? Are they crypts? Mausoleum. So what if you
like
banged
marble and cold?
Yeah, cold marble on your ass. So it's like and there's like and you're like basically fucking in front of a family. I guess you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like you got grandpa and grandma and everybody. But I'm saying like you know what I mean. So it's like a little house.
Grass.
Or you're just, but then I think the creep, because or grass, or, you're kind of like up against like the main building or something, or a tree.
In the,
I think the creepiest one is just on the grass. Because I feel like you're like at the same level as them. You know what I mean?
You think it's creepier to have sex on the grass than inside an open grave?
But at least it's like role playing, like you're doing like, we're setting it up. We have, Greg who's throwing shit on us, you know what I mean? Like to create like a moment where we have some lighting, but just straight up on the grass, I do feel like I'd be looking around a lot. Like, am I going to see a spirit?
Oh, I'm sure.
So I think mausoleum would be my move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mausoleum kind of creeps me out a little more. Yeah, there's something
like all of a sudden the door closes, you know what I mean? Like you're locked in.
Oh, don't even say that.
Anyway, this is all fantastic. It's good to work out the details though.
And you, Marissa, shout out.
We
appreciate you. Okay, we've got another spicy story. Yes. One more that we're going to go over today, but let's take another quick pause first. These spicy stories are making me sweat. I'm getting a little parched. I need to keep up my hydration. And I always turn to Liquid IV because it's the best. I want you, my fam, to stay hydrated too, especially this time of year. Whether you forget to take a sip of water during the holiday office party, okay, or start to feel parched after a long day of traveling or hosting, keep Liquid IV on hand to stay hydrated through the holidays, and they make it so easy with convenient packets of their hydration multiplier or sugar-free hydration multiplier. You get 8 vitamins and nutrients, 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, and no artificial sweeteners. Oh my goodness, Liquid IV is the best.
Delicious.
It's the best.
Liquid IV, making it easy to stay hydrated is an understatement. All you have to do is tear, pour, and live more. 1 stick plus the 16 ounces of water. This is the stick right here. Super easy. Hydrates better than water alone. We have our Liquid IV right here, and these sticks are so convenient. You can bring them everywhere. We keep them in the glove compartment, Jess's purse, my work, and hockey bag. I'm bagged up. It's powered by LIV Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration.
And let's us not forget how incredibly delicious Liquid IV too. Okay, on top of it all, it's so good. It makes me want to get hydrated, and they have so many amazing flavors. And these are, by the way, true to fruit flavors that keep you hydrated. You can find all your favorite hydration multiplier flavors on their website, from acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada, or choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry melon, white peach, and green grape. I have been chugging the white peach lately. That's what I have right here. It is divine. The flavor is so good. And don't forget, it's always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Stay hydrated through the holidays with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MOMDAD at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MOMDAD at liquidiv.com. Okay, let's have one more spicy story. You needy freaks. Listen, you good girls.
Yeah,
let's get one more spicy story.
Okay, so I already sent one and I realized it was horrible storytelling. So I'm going to try once more, and if this doesn't go well, then shame on me. I'd like to remain anonymous, but I'm going to tell you about my row vans from a few summers ago as I was living with my parents after going broke in New York City and was working like 3 jobs. And in that time, I was upon the Tinder app and found this human man who was gorgeous and was a professional wakeboarder, which I had never really encountered in real life. I wasn't sure they were real, and they are real. But he was 300 miles away.
The mystical
and I said,
creatures.
Dang, that's a bummer because you're a cutie. And he said, well, good thing I'm going to be coming through where you are tomorrow. And I said, oh, okay. So we made a plan to meet at a local bar in which we were talking conspiracy theories, not as theorists, at least not me. He might have been a theorist, but whatever. I only knew him for a couple days, which I found really fun and interesting just because I think it's kind of funny and also kind of fun to think about. And also we were like, whatever, chatting. And then we started making out at the bar because we had some bevies. And when we started to make out at the bar, the bartender took a picture of us and it was very cute. It was like very romantic. And then we went to his van and were there for like 2 days making sweet,
2 days?
pleasurable times. And
In his van.
we listened to Bo Burnham like the whole time, which was like strangely really sexy and romantic. But yeah, so we basically did that for 2 days, and then we did some sexting back and forth, and then I never talked to him again. And he was dumb, but he was real cute, and now I'm happily booed up, but what a time to be alive. Okay, bye.
Now that is an indie movie. Like, okay, just picture this, okay? Our friend here is on the app.
Sure.
Finds a professional wakeboarder. Doesn't believe that professional wakeboarders are real.
Right.
Goes and he says, hey, I'm 300 miles away, but I have a van. Yeah. Drives to meet up with her in a bar. And then they talk about conspiracy theories, which probably one of her conspiracy theories were, I don't think you're real because you're a wakeboarder and a professional wakeboarder and I don't think they're real. And then they end up going to the van and they're gone for 2 days in the van making love whilst listening to Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
I have never heard a more indie movie romance in my life.
Yes, 100%.
Also, another example family of a member of our family who is just like letting it rite. Yes. You know what I mean? Like I kind of yearn for the freedom of our past 3 stories. Like I'm putting the note on the fire truck. I'm gonna have sex in a cemetery.
Yes.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure, let's meet up and I'll just enjoy our time in this van and enjoy you for the next 2 days. And I never really see you again, but I'm just gonna enjoy this moment together in your van.
You could have totally...
When the van's a rockin', don't come a knockin'.
Don't come a knockin'. And, you could have totally said, I don't believe in wakeboarders. You know what I mean? Like, they're not real people.
And it could have ended there.
But you said, I'm choosing to believe in wakeboarders. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Professional
wakeboarders. And I don't know if he sent you footage or something, or you looked him up to confirm his magical existence. Side note, randomly, a buddy of mine just found out the other day he was a semi-pro, going pro wakeboarder, and that was another. And I said, I don't believe you.
Maybe it was
you
him.
don't exist.
Maybe it was him.
But you know what I like about this too is that like, you know, I get the kind of fantasy too, like guy who's like shirt off in the lake, you know what I mean, like doing flips. And you're like, if you can do flips, what else can he do? Energy, you know what I mean? But what I like too is that there is an element of like when he presents to you the van, like we will be having sex in the van. I've not really, you know, because as you get older, you get a little bit more high maintenance, right? So you could be like, what hotel are we going to?
Yes, what Airbnb have you rented out?
And he goes, and the beautiful thing about young love is they just present you with, I got a van, and you're like, sounds good.
And we're gonna be in the van,
I mean?
and then
go ahead,
be romanced by Bo Burnham the entire time,
right? And so and it's funny because on first look, you go, Bo Burnham, what are you talking about? But then you kind of go,
no,
the
I get
romance is in the fact that
I get it.
You're being free and laughing together, and you share the same sense of humor and kind of share the intimacy of the connection.
And Bo Burnham is very intimate.
And
you know?
Listening to Bo Burnham will remove the pressure to make conversation for 2 days straight in between the sexual adventures.
I think
so you're just able to kind of listen and laugh.
I'm imagining they're listening to his music.
Yes.
Not maybe just the clips of the
they're just doing YouTube shorts. There's like 45 seconds each, and they're just flicking through them. But either way, the idea of like listening to a comedy special and then getting back to business and then taking a break, drinking some water, chilling, laughing about something, turning on another special, laughing about it, then that probably begets more conversation about your creative interests, things you want to do in life.
I think that you should contact Bo Burnham and tell him about the random pro wakeboarder that you met up with at the bar and then spent the night in his van for 2 nights and listened to him, Bo Burnham, on loop for 48 hours. And I think you, at the beginning of this, said you're Ro-Vance instead of romance.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what that was.
Because I was like, what does that mean?
I was like,
now it's the van. And I feel like you should contact Bo Burnham and be like, hey, I had a Ro-Vance to your album for 48 hours with a pro wakeboarder. I feel like this would inspire Bo Burnham to create his next album.
I'm
just saying,
I agree.
I can picture Bo Burnham in a van with 2 people next to him starting to see each other. And I can picture it.
Yeah,
I can picture
he's probably
it.
very used to hearing about stories about like, hey, you helped me through a hard time in my life. Yeah. I was going through a breakup and your special help. But he's not used to hearing, I fucked to you for 2 days in a van. You know what I mean? Also, did the van move? You know what I mean? Was this a traveling van? Like, did you guys move, or were you just in the parking lot of a Chili's for 2 days?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, was it like we went to the water with the van and we looked out over the water while we made love?
Right.
Then we moved the van to the woods. And we're talking 2 days here. Okay, this isn't an afternoon.
I do love the idea that
the idea that like you hook up at 3 p.m.
Yeah,
and then
for the next 48 hours
at 3:30 you're done with that hookup, and then fast forward 2 nighttime sleeps.
Exactly.
So that's like a decent amount of time.
I like to picture that they were in the Walmart parking lot the whole time, but the van never left.
They would go into Walmart, refuel, come back, rehydrate, get some beers, come back. It was just, they parked real close to Walmart so they could refuel. Dang.
Well, honestly, I'm awed and inspired by all of y'all's energy.
Yes. I agree.
I know hearing me say y'all feels weird when it came out of my mouth. When I say y'all, it just doesn't feel right. But anyway,
take that as you will.
Everyone just with that energy of like, c'est la vie. Like we're just living life and we're just doing it. And I'm going to take that spicy c'est la vie energy into the next week for me.
Well, luckily for you, I've rented a U-Haul. Ember has a babysitter. And for the next 2 days, I put a mattress in the back of the U-Haul and a space heater. And we will be banging one time and then going back to our normal lives. So prepare yourself. Very exciting. And the U-Haul will be parked up in front of our house.
Oh, should we get into questions? Family, thank you for sending these stories, and we'll listen to more in the future. Just FYI, if you love these spicy stories.
Question time?
Let's do questions.
Hey, Mom and Dad, I have a question for you. Our family is kind of going through a little bit of something right now. And I just want to hear what you guys think of this whole situation because we're pretty divided on it. So my sister-in-law confides in me a couple months ago that her husband is has a friendship at work who's a female, and they text and hang out after work quite a bit. They have very similar interests. She's really into hiking, and so is he. My sister-in-law has hung out with her, but he also goes on hikes and hangs out with her on her own. And my sister was asking what I thought and if I would be uncomfortable if my husband was doing that. And I didn't want to kind of freak her out, but my gut feeling felt like like it is an inappropriate relationship. And she's had many conversations with him, and he swears that it's just a friendship, that he's not cheating, there's nothing physical. The more information my sister-in-law starts to tell me, it seems like an emotional kind of cheating to me. So I kind of start talking to my husband, which is her brother, and we kind of let other family members know, and we have kind of like a intervention or confrontation about it, and everything really blows up. She actually ended up finding some text messages and found out that they lied about hanging out one time, and just things started getting kind of secretive, but she doesn't have any like hard facts of him actually cheating. So once everything explodes, her husband is denying and saying it's just a friendship. And my sister-in-law is wanting to set boundaries, and it doesn't seem like he's making any change. They're coworkers. He refuses to quit his job or stop seeing her. Basically, my sister-in-law now is at a point where she just kind of has to handle it and be okay with it. So she sends us all a text basically telling the family, don't get involved. We're going to handle it. I'm okay. I'm moving on. We've had many conversations, even though everyone in the family is like, you guys need to go to therapy. You need to figure this out. And then a couple days ago, he sends a group message in the chat saying that this woman, his coworker friend, is going to come to their son's birthday party. So you can imagine how the family was feeling. Super upset, super confused. And we kind of tell them it's disrespectful to put everybody in that situation, knowing everything that has happened. And I think the reason they're doing it is to kind of prove that everything's okay, they've moved on. My sister-in-law sent us all a message, but our concern is they're not in therapy. My sister-in-law is not talking to anybody about it. She's kind of closed the family off. She's not talking to anybody in the family about it. And we feel like she's getting a little bit of manipulation and gaslighting from her husband because we knew how upset she was about the whole situation a couple months ago. And now this person, this coworker, this female, is going to come to a family event. And we just find it so inappropriate and so disrespectful. We just don't know what to do. She's basically telling us to back off. It's okay. But we just kind of can't help think that it's more than just a friendship and there's something else going on and that she's being lied to, essentially. But we don't know. There's no hard evidence or proof. And how would we don't want to get too involved because we don't want there to be this huge divide within the family. She's choosing her husband and she's choosing her marriage and to move on from this. But we're just a little kind of concerned for her well-being and not wanting her to get manipulated. But yeah, thank you. Let me know what you guys think. Bye.
Let me put this in the quickest form. They're fucking in the woods, okay? There's no question about it. 1 billion %.
And if they're not having sex, I mean, it's an emotional affair. When you start having someone who's lying,
they're having sex. You don't tell your family, I'm never changing and I'm never not hanging out with this person.
There's that, but I'm also saying there's the nugget. There's the nugget of when sister-in-law wife finds out that via text they were lying about seeing each other.
100%.
So it's like, why then
Of
would
course.
you? That's that at least it's the beginnings of something if it's not full blown already.
Now, I have another take on this.
Sure.
And this is I don't know. I truly do believe, and you guys know where I stand on this because I've said this a million times. I love you as a listener, as a,
Member
of this family, but it's none of your business. Like, unfortunately, if she were to come to you and say, what is your opinion on it? Maybe give her some guidance, maybe say, hey, personally, it sounds a little strange to me. Sounds like something I wouldn't be super comfortable with.
Well, she did do that initially,
right.
remember?
Right, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying, maybe it's not something I'm super comfortable with, but, that's something you got to work out. Let me know if you need some help. And it ends there. But we're all adults here. There shouldn't be, in my personal opinion, for something like this, like interventions and all y'all's involvement, because you got to realize from your sister's perspective, it's kind of like if there is no hard evidence, then is she going to blow her whole family up over this? Is she going to keep it together? Like, that's a lot of pressure now. She kind of feels responsible to like report to you guys, which at the end of the day, it's not your marriage. Like, now she has so much more added pressure than was between her and her husband. Now she feels her whole family is like probably low key judging her for not making certain decisions they agree with or don't. Then she goes, you know what? I'm going to choose my husband. Now she feels like she has to explain all that to you guys. Like, I will say, like, it sounded like in the beginning it was good. Just some advice, just some reflection. But now we're way too involved in their life. This is their life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, this is a personal issue between them. She has to make decisions. He has to make decisions. You can agree or not agree, but like, this is their life. Mm-hmm. And so you got to get out of there. If you know what I mean, like, you can have an opinion about whether that person shows up to like your family event. I understand that.
Yeah. If they're coming into your home, for sure.
But again, like, what will happen is if she continues to double down on her husband, she will just then distance herself from you guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
You guys will lose the
about.
relationship. It will become awkward, distant. He's going to hate you guys, and he will get in her ear. She will. It's already happening clearly.
Yeah.
So like, I would back way off.
Yeah. What I'm worried about is her needing you all right now, and if then you all are getting too involved, that she will start pulling away from you when she needs you all the most. Mm-hmm. I have some specific thoughts about this going off of you, but we need to take another quick pause.
Yeah.
And then I want to get back into this because I have some thoughts. Family. So my dad, the Cat King, one of his cats is named Winston, and I feel like the name fits him very appropriately because to me the name Winston seems so proper. It's like high tea vibes, so fancy with a mustache, a taste for the finer things, which is exactly what Winston is like, specifically when it comes to food. This cat is picky, but he lives his best delicious life because my dad only feeds him Smalls. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. And let me tell you, I have seen the speed to which my dad's cats come running when he brings out the Smalls cat food. They did not used to do this with their old cat food, okay? The difference is so obvious. And as a human, I can tell the difference because when I open this cat food, I don't feel nauseous. I actually recognize the ingredients in a packet of Smalls cat food.
Smalls was started back in 2017 by a couple of guys home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. A few short years later, they've served millions of meals to cats across the U.S. At this point, you might be wondering, why can't I just feed my cat kibble? Believe it or not, your cute kitty descended from desert cats who hunted live prey for food, and your cat isn't any different. They still need fresh protein packed meals to be at their best. Other cat food brands know this, but they choose to put their wallets first They fill their food with mysterious meat byproducts, artificial flavorings, and preservatives.
And check this out. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's a huge deal, family, okay? And the team at Smalls is so confident that your cat will love their product that you can try it risk-free. That means they will refund you if your cat won't eat their food. So give your cat the gift of great cat food this holiday season. What a cute gift to give for your kitty, okay? Head to smalls.com/momdad and use promo code MOMDAD at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use our code MOMDAD for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code MOMDAD at smalls.com/momdad for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Okay, so back to our last question. My thought on this is, straight up, have to agree with Evan about the fact that it seems highly likely that there is a relationship going on, whether it be physically intimate or emotionally intimate, like whatever it is, it doesn't seem, and I don't know what the boundaries, because everyone has different boundaries in their relationships, right? Like, hey, like I'm okay with you being with someone else,
Sure,
whatever, like just with chatting wise, spending time. I don't know, but obviously your sister-in-law started off uncomfortable with this, asking you questions, and now we're here where the husband is like, no, I'm not changing it. We're bringing her to the family get together, which is wild, especially to like their kids' party, when
especially after everything.
Like that tells me all I need to know.
Knowing the family is pissed.
That tells me everything I need to know about him.
Yes.
And the fact that the wife made clear, I'm not comfortable with this, and he's like, I'm not changing it. In fact, she's coming to our child's birthday party. Okay. So I just want to say this, dear family member, if I were in your position, I'd be blood boil, seeing red rage. Okay. Like, screw this guy, get her away from, like, I just want to acknowledge that. Okay. So I completely understand why you all are wanting to make sure that your sister-in-law is okay and get involved. But I do agree also with what Evan said about at this point now, I feel like the best thing for you all to do is just be there for her in a loving way. And I mean that in like not just every conversation being about what's going on with her husband, just checking in on her, coffee dates, hangs, calls, just staying in tune with her in like a loving friendship way, so that then she feels super safe and comfortable that if and when she's ready to move on from this guy or something else comes up, that you guys are a safe haven to her. Because at this point, I think you just have to respect the fact that she's now said, don't get involved. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
And you just have to respect, as much as it's going to kill you not to, you have to respect what she said. And I think the best way that you'll be able to get to her and be there for her is just by being there for her as a loving sister-in-law and family, so that she feels safe and comfortable with you all. In the circumstance like this party where this woman is probably going to be there, if I were you, as hard as it is, I would just stay away from this person.
Yeah.
Love on your sister-in-law, be there around her, not bring it up in front of her, not be like, oh, she's here. Did you see how she's... Just be there for her. You can observe what you want. But like Evan said, I think there's the amount of stress now that your sister-in-law is under. It's just going to add more pressure to what's already happening inside of her.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if you're a safe haven, then there will hopefully be a realization of like, I'm being manipulated, I'm being gaslit. But when she's putting her foot down and saying, we're good, because she said, I don't want you all to get involved.
Yeah.
You have to respect what she's saying. So I think if the family can come together and be like, the best thing that we can do is love on her, I think that's
well, and clearly too, like the husband is like, let's say in the 1% chance he's actually not cheating, what he clearly feels is that like, I can do what I want. Yeah. So I feel like whatever you do now will make him respond and double and triple down, which will then make your sister's life suck more. So like, just know that like, if you keep going, we could get into like damage territory where like now it's becoming worse because of his defiance. Like, so the more that you back off, the more that at least she might have the freedom to kind of make her own choices and not feel like she's kind of having to balance two parties. You
and
know
clearly
what I mean?
she just needs emotional support right now because she's obviously not getting it from her husband who is refusing to hear out.
So you don't want her feeling like she can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Tough.
But
Sucks,
I'm so sorry. I mean, that is just, it's, and then like you said too, when you're like, we don't have any hard evidence, but it's just that territory.
It's not like the sister saw them in a hotel together and then she's like, what do I do? It's all hearsay. It's all conceptual. It all seems sketchy, but there's no proof. Now you're getting into like, stay out.
Yeah.
You know,
be there for her.
Yeah.
Focus on her. Ugh. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm so sorry. Yeah. Next.
There we go.
Hi, Mom and Dad. All right, so obviously I'm a lover of the pod. I'm calling in. Who calls into a podcast they don't love? Been loving it since it was chatty. Now we're just chatting some more, I guess, but with Mom and Dad. So love it. And here's my question. What do you think? What do you think would happen if I were to tell a very close friend of mine that I think her kid is a brat? I kind of think it would be the end of the friendship. We've had our issues in the past anyway.
Yeah.
And anytime anything comes up around scheduling anything, and then she just doesn't want to deal with like her kid having a meltdown or like him not being happy or anything like that. Even if like it's 10 minutes, this is the most recent one, 10 minutes prior to the plan we had. If the kid isn't feeling it, it's not happening. And I just don't really know what to do at this point. So would love to know what you think. Is there an opportunity to tell a person ever that they are raising a brat? I am not a parent, so I really don't have room to talk. And I'm definitely not going to give explicit circumstances of his behavior in certain instances because I feel it would give it away if she were to ever listen. So yeah, I'm not really sure what, if anything, I could say or do, and would love to hear your feedback. What do you think? Would you tell a friend if you think they're raising the spawn of Satan and are doing a disservice to society by not being a better parent? LOL. Okay, bye.
LOL.
Okay. Just right off the top, I can't think of many situations where it's ever going to go over great telling a parent that they're raising a brat. I can't really think of any situation unless it's coming up organically.
Yeah.
Where you're like, where the parent says, hey, I've been having struggles with my kid and I feel really, like, let's just say your friend all of a sudden is like, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I feel my kid's this way and I don't know what to do. I wouldn't say, well, just so you know, you're raising a brat. I'd be like, hey, I've noticed this, and, just bring it up gently. I think the only other way that I can think of where it may be, and this isn't going to go smoothly either, but if you're also a parent and your kid's hanging out with that kid, and then there's this conversation where it's like that kid's not treating that kid well, where you have to sit down and be like, hey, just FYI, your kid has been doing this and this with my kid and saying this, and we have to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. That happens when you have kids sometimes, and it's always an uncomfortable conversation, but it allows more of a conversation to happen because you have a child involved. In my opinion, unless she brings it up to you and is like, I'm overwhelmed, my kid's making me crazy, I don't know what to do, SOS, like, what are your thoughts? If I were you, I would really focus on the last minute bailing situation. I think that's where a conversation could actually happen. Like you said, you and this friend have had some trying times in the past, so I think it's going to be sensitive and someone's going to be extra sensitive when it comes to talking about their kid. But I think if you bring up that she's bailing on you all the time, that is more of an in. Like you said, the last situation or the last time this happened, 10 minutes before you all were getting together, she bailed because her kid didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's the point you hit.
Yeah.
Where you can say, hey, I love you so much. I want to spend time with you, but I'm going to be real. Like, I know you are a busy mom and you have a lot going on and there's a lot physically, emotionally, all this stuff going on. But I feel a little hurt and disrespected because I know I'm not a parent, but I also have my own life and I moved my schedule around and now we're having these thing regularly where you bail on me 10 minutes before. Like, it doesn't make me feel great. Can we plan something? Maybe a date night where there's a babysitter and we can go out without your kid? And maybe that's then where a conversation starts to grow.
Yeah.
Those are my
great,
thoughts.
Babe. It's all great. It's all great. Everything you're saying in fantasy land over there is fantastic. And I wish we all lived in fantasy land with you. But we don't. We live in the real world. Okay? There's so many things. There's a couple things going on here we need to get into. No, you have the correct view.
Okay.
The way the world should work. And then there's the way it goddamn does. So point number 1 is that, well, this is interesting. I do feel like you're saying the kid's a brat, the kid's got this bad vibe, blah, blah, blah.
Spawn of Satan.
Spawn of Satan, to be more specific. I think the issue here is that all she'll hear is that you're critical of her parenting. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you're letting this kid be this way. You're canceling our plans. You're this, you're that. You know, it'll, you know, whether it's true or not, it'll basically just be a criticism. She'll probably just take it as a criticism of her kid, this, that, you're judging her, whatever. You know what I mean? I think the reality is that you need to downgrade the relationship. Not in a way of like bad, just more in the way of like priority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've had friends that like over the years, okay, this is a great example. I've had a friend, had a kid, and he became like the ultimate bailer. Like we would set things up, everything was going, and then 3 hours before we were supposed to hang out, bailed. Constantly because of the same reasons. He would be like, you know, me and my wife got into it. Me and the kiddo, you know, he's acting up. But like there was always some reason why he would cancel. And so after a couple of those, you're kind of like, well, I do value my time. I love you, but at the same time, I can't rely on you anymore. Yeah. So you have to kind of downgrade. Like if it works out, it works out. But I'm not going to cancel plans for you. I'm not going to make special arrangements for you because I can't trust you with that. And then the reality is like what she's probably doing too is going. She's probably weighing out certain things. The kid's acting up. If I cancel my plan, he'll act up a little less because I've seen that work. Mm-hmm. If I bring him, he'll be throwing a tantrum the entire time. I'm too tired. I don't want to deal with it. Whatever. And you can't compete with that. Yeah. You can't compete with like her day in and day out schedule. So I don't know. I'm just a big reality of like, are you going to be the magic bullet that like all of a sudden now like, she changes her like her parenting style and raises him a completely different way because you called her out on it once? I just go, I think what happens in that moment is she feels offended, however she takes it, and you guys' relationship falls apart. Like
but you're saying pull away from this friendship.
No, I'm saying downgrade it a little bit to where you're not, so that you don't get hurt all the time.
But if this is a dear friend of hers, like that's so painful. Is it worse to just downgrade the relationship or instead communicate and be like, and not be like, hey, your kid's a brat, but instead be like, hey, I've been getting my feelings hurt because I feel like you're bailing on me last minute. And I understand there's the kid involved.
Okay, so
let's
you're
like,
yes. So let's find
that's your trauma
that's
seeping through where you're like, time to cut. And it's just like, right. hold on.
I think you're right.
Maybe try communicating because then listen, worst case scenario, she gets upset and doesn't want to talk to you. And then the relationship does get downgraded because there's drama or, you know, whatever.
I think you're correct.
Or you just fucking go for it. And you in nice
just
terms,
let it burn.
And you in nice terms go, hey, I love you so much and I want what's best for you. And I'm seeing the bags under your eyes and the exhaustion. And I think it's because your child is the spawn of Satan.
Yeah.
Or just be like, I want to help you.
Yes.
That's another thing too. I know it sounds terrible because especially when you're dealing with the spawn of Satan, the last thing you want to do is spend time with this kid.
With Satan, yeah.
But maybe you reach out and go, hey, I can tell that you're really overwhelmed and I know our past couple times haven't worked out. Can I come over and help you out and like be in the home and watch the kid And then once you've watched the kid, that gives you a little more room to speak into how her parenting is. If you offer to babysit that kid and that kid's a terror and it's just absolute chaos, when mom comes home, maybe next time you go out and have a glass of wine with her, be like, hey, you know what? I got to let you know. I love you and you are trying your best. You're an amazing mom, but can I like make a suggestion and go for it?
I love that.
I don't know.
No,
maybe
I
I live
like
in
that.
fantasy land.
No. You don't live in fantasy land, but I do think a hybrid, because the more I'm analyzing the energy, because she even said we've had our issues in the past. Should I let this relationship go? Which doesn't scream to me. This means so much to me. It means that like I had a friend, we were really close. Things are good. Kid came involved. Doesn't seem like she's handling it well. Kid seems to be like a handful. It's causing tension. It's causing this, causing that. What I will say is like, if you're going to talk to her, like Jess said, focus on the relationship. Focus on, hey, I feel like I'll like set aside this time and then you'll bail and da-da-da-da. Is there any way we can kind of like fix that or figure out a way to make that work? But in my personal opinion, do not bring up the child. Do not bring up the parenting. She's probably already just exhausted and tired and feeling helpless. So you're just going to add to it. She's going to feel like you're judging her. Now, every time she brings the kid around, she's going to be like on edge thinking, is she thinking about how bad my kid is? Like, don't bring up the kid. Make it just about your relationship. And this relationship does fall away, it might just be because you guys are in different, have different priorities and different time.
Because the thing is, at the end of the day, like, even if you're watching and going, hey, she's not handling this parenting well, like, as someone who is a parent, I'll tell you what, mistakes are frequent and flowing.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to see yourself from the other perspective when you're making these mistakes. Though I will say I do even though it's hurtful, I do value conversation about it.
I just think most people don't. And maybe that's a gloomy way to look at the world, but I just believe most people aren't looking for that.
I think you're
maybe, but it's like, I just feel like I have a couple people in my life who over the years would value that, and I value it as well, and we have a really strong thing. But I want to say that 97% of the time I feel like I'm going to be honest with someone, most people aren't looking for that.
Yeah.
Most people are just not looking for that shit.
Maybe offer babysit.
I think.
Anywho.
And, right. She's like, the spawn of Satan. I'm not watching that kid. It's like Chucky coming into your house.
Well, blessings and good luck on whatever way you choose to navigate this and venture into it. We got to take one more quick pause and we'll dive into some more questions. Family, so hey, obviously taking your vitamins is very important always, but I feel like especially this time of year, it's so necessary. And speaking of kiddos earlier, okay, this goes for kiddos as well. The problem for us, though, used to be that our daughter Ember didn't want to take her daily vitamins because she said they tasted gross. Well, not anymore, since she started taking Haya vitamins. She loves them. She wakes up every morning asking for her Haya vitamin. It is incredibly fabulous. And here's the thing. Typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy junk. That's why Haya was created, the pediatrician approved, super powered, chewable vitamin that also tastes good. It's amazing. As a parent, we thank you so much, Haya.
Yeah, while most children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar and can contribute to a variety of health issues, Haya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy junk, yet it tastes great and is perfect for picky eaters. Formulated with the help of nutritional experts, Haya is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals that help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and much more.
It's also non-GMO, vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free, and everything else you can imagine. Haya is designed for kids 2 and up and sent straight to your door, so parents have one less thing to worry about, which blessings. Thank you so much, Haya. Also, here's the deal. They just really think of everything. You get this cool bottle with your first order, and then they send you eco-friendly refills every month. And Ember's first cool bottle that was sent to her, it came with stickers, so she was also able to decorate her vitamins herself, and she loves it. It feels more like personal to her, knowing that when she gets up in the morning, she takes her vitamins. Not only does she think they're delicious, it's like, oh, it's her bottle that she designed. It's just the best. P.S. I also recommend checking out their new kids probiotic and nighttime essentials. We have worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/mom and dad. This deal is not available on their regular website, okay? So go to hiyahealth.com/mom, and dad. That's hiyahealth.com/mom and dad, and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Get your friends, for kids, some Hiya vitamins. You know what I mean? Maybe that'll help.
I think that might be the secret, to be honest with you.
Maybe that's what's going to help. Okay, next voicemail.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hello.
I'm calling in to hopefully get some parental advice on a situation that's causing me a lot of stress and worry. It has for a while now regarding my in-laws and specifically my mother-in-law.
Okay.
I've been with my husband for 5 years, and we actually met because I was first friends with his sister. And when I was her friend, his mom loved me. After I started dating my friend's brother, which she did set us up, so we're all good there, the dynamic between his mom and I completely changed. I want to preface by saying I do love her a lot, and I wish that marrying her son had brought us closer together, but sadly, that's not the case at all. Since we started dating, she completely changed the way she treats me. She has talked horribly about me behind my back for years now, to basically anyone she gets a chance to, and there's been a few specific instances that have just cut me so deep. I think she falls into the mother mindset of seeing her son's partner as kind of the girl that stole her son away from her. When we started dating, I tried to go above and beyond to connect with her in many ways, but it just kind of felt like no matter what I did, it was never enough. And she kind of despises me. I'm so lucky because my husband sees everything that she's done to hurt me and always comes to my defense and takes my side, which I'm so grateful for. But the issue I'm currently facing is that we're now pregnant with our first kid and her first grandchild, and my anxiety surrounding her is getting to an extreme. Now, if she does choose to acknowledge me, it's only to ask questions about the baby and never how I'm doing. Every time I see her, she asks if I'm still taking my prenatal vitamins, and the answer is always yes, but it just makes me feel like she doesn't trust me to take care of my child before it's even born, and she always gives us unsolicited advice on how we need to raise our child. We've tried to set boundaries with her in the past, and it's been really bad, so we've just kind of had to have those tough conversations. And each time she's expressed that she doesn't believe in boundaries, and it's just us trying to control her.
Whoa.
I'm wondering if you guys can share any advice on how I can still be a kind person while also standing up for myself and my child in the future, because I am already starting to imagine the laundry list of issues she will have with our parenting and how I am as a mother. I struggle a lot with mental health issues, and though she's a nurse, she often dismisses them and says I'm dramatic and selfish and just need to get over it. My husband definitely does most of the communication with her just to kind of keep things separate. But once the baby's born and he goes back to work, there's going to probably be situations where I'm with her alone and we'll need to probably shut some things down. And if I've ever tried to reason with her in the past, she says I'm disrespectful and that she would have never disagreed with her in-laws back when they were around. For example, we've decided that we probably won't want visitors after the baby's born and we're in the hospital because I have a really complicated pregnancy and I know that I'm going to need a C-section. And this has already made her really upset. And I feel like if she already has such a big issue with our first request, it's only going to get harder as time goes on. I don't know what your guys' relationship looks like with your in-laws, but I would love your perspective because my baby's not even born and I'm already freaking out. Love you guys so much.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, I want to put like hands on you and like cover you in prayer and bless you because like all my insides are hurting listening to this, especially like hearing that you struggle with your mental health. And then on top of it, even just hearing you say, I love her and I wish. Right. So it's like very clear.
Especially because she loves her because she remembers what it was like before.
Right.
So like what she's saying is like, I feel like I know what she's capable of.
Right. But even beyond that, you just seem like the kindest person ever that can like see beyond all of this and still extend like love, which is just so admirable. Okay. And that's what's breaking my heart the most is where you're like, I love her and I want this, but she's just so unkind. And someone saying I don't believe in boundaries is absolutely unhinged. Like to actually say I don't believe in boundaries, it's one thing to be like, yeah, okay, sure, but then not respect them. But to literally look at someone and be like, I don't believe in boundaries is absolutely unhinged. I am so happy for you to hear that your husband sees everything and that he is there for you and that this isn't causing like tension and it's not like him and her against you. And now that there's a baby on the way, which congratulations so much. Okay. Here are my thoughts. So obviously you said you've tried to set boundaries and she doesn't seem to respect them. Without completely cutting this woman out, which it doesn't sound like that's what you all are planning to do. I think, first of all, you just have to then keep setting the boundaries and be really, really strict with them. Like as much as she pushes and complains and says, I would never have done this to my in-laws, don't. It sounds to me like this woman is the type of person who's going to try to manipulate the shit out of you, make you feel bad, make you feel like a bad parent. I would never put up these boundaries. So she's going to try to weasel in every way she can to make you feel bad until you loosen that boundary a little bit and then she can snake in. So I'm like, those boundaries, keep them firm. You and your husband can support each other through that. Like you said, your husband communicates more with her. I think that that's a great idea. Let him handle it. It's his mom, as much as you feel comfortable with him handling it, and keep those boundaries up and make really hardcore boundaries. Like, if you don't respect this, you can't see our kid. Like genuinely at this point, it's like, no, we're adults. If you cannot respect this simple boundary, then there will be other more extreme boundaries made.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me, and I know you're saying, how can I continue to show like her love and extend myself to her through all this? Maybe I'm petty, but part of me just like wants you to go the fuck off. Like I kind of want, because it sounds to me, and maybe I'm projecting this because I know you said that you guys have had like confrontations, but it sounds to me like you sound like such a gentle, sweet, loving person that maybe when you feel like you're being confrontational with her, that you're actually being like much more gentle than perhaps you think. And she seems like a very intense person, that like part of me wants you to just go the fuck off. Like at this point, I feel it in my bones so bad. I'm like, at this point, I want you to look at her and just be like, I can say this as someone who has bipolar, just be like, you want to see fucking crazy? I'll show you fucking crazy. You think I'm too sensitive? You think? Guess what? Boom. I'm going to show you. Because at a certain level, it's like this person doesn't deserve your graciousness anymore. Now, if that's what's going to bring you peace, is being gracious, it's a tough thing to answer since she doesn't listen to the boundaries, but I would just say hardcore boundaries. And then when you see her, be like surface level and light, if that's going to make you feel better. But I don't know. I kind of want you to go off. Especially like you said, you're pregnant right now. Like this is supposed to be a time, it's already stressful enough. It's already exhausting enough. This is supposed to be a time where you're celebrating, and yet you're feeling judged. You're feeling stressed. Someone's not respecting a pregnancy, like you said, that already is a situation where you're like, I know I'm gonna have to get a C-section. You need to be as content and at peace as you can be. So it's either like you can't be around until we're ready after the baby comes, and that's a hardcore boundary. Or like next time she asks about the prenatal vitamins, fucking go off and be like, I don't know what your problem is. I know you're in love with your son, but guess what? We're fucking married. I'm carrying his baby. You can choose whether to be in this baby's life or not if you decide to respect our boundaries, and stop talking about me like I'm a terrible person. I know I'm a good person. Stop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want it. And you know me, I normally don't want to go unhinged, but like I'm like, a part of me.
No, I mean, I like that, and you probably feel good for about 5 minutes if you go off. But the reality is that she's already
maybe that's what it takes.
No. I okay.
Since she's not listening.
My Can I give my
Please.
my 2 thoughts?
Sorry, I'm a little heated.
I just think that you gotta. There's a little strategy here. You got to be strategic. That it's not about because like you're gonna pay whatever price. You know what I'm saying? Like if you make mistakes, you pay the price. So it's one of those things where it's like this woman is in your life because she is the mother of your husband. And like you said, it doesn't sound like you're trying to cut her out and you don't want it to end in that situation because now you're dealing with trauma there and then your husband's probably going to feel a lot of pressure, all that stuff. What I would do is borrow her credit card and charge a bunch of money on it and then say, I don't believe in boundaries either. You know what I mean? And then walk into her house, eat all her food, walk away. And she goes, well, what the hell was that? You go, I don't believe in boundaries. You know what I mean?
Just get in her bed.
Steal her car. I don't believe in boundaries.
Get in her bed, and when she walks into her bedroom, you're just sitting in the bed and be like,
take a poop on the floor in her house and be like, I don't believe in toilets. You know what I mean? Like, explain how insane that is. No, this person clearly, like you said, I would have a heart-to-heart with her and say, I'm not trying to steal your son. I want you involved. Your behavior is inappropriate. And if you disagree with that, this is my life. Like, you need to know. It sounds like she's kind of a child and she needs to be like put in her place. I hate to say it, but it sounds like she's gotten away with bad behavior for a really long time and that she needs to be put in her place. She needs to realize that these are not children anymore. Like she clearly looks at her son as a 5-year-old boy. She clearly looks at you as the 17-year-old that was friends with her. You know what I mean? It's like you are still just children to her. And so she looks at your behavior as like, what do you mean you can't tell mom what to do?
Yeah.
When the second you're adults, now you're all on the same page. You guys are all on the same level. Just because she's old doesn't mean she has more rights than you, more ability to do whatever she wants in your life.
And by the way, even when you're young, you should have your own autonomy.
Of course, I'm just saying in her mind, that's how she's viewing it.
Yes, no, I understand.
So if I were you, I would do your best to keep your reactionary emotions in check because she could use that as like a way, well, you're crazy or you're acting nuts or you know what I mean? Like you're what'd she say? Dramatic.
I know. In my bipolar,
I know.
I want to go fucking scorched earth. Someone's commenting about my mental health. Oh, I want to go scorched earth.
It's not right, but you're going to have a couple hard conversations, which are going to suck, but it'll make your life better later. So the more you put things off, bury things, eat it, take the offensive thing, the more that she's going to get out of control. And then you're going to wake up in 5 years and it's going to be 10 times harder to deal with.
Yeah.
So like set the boundary and don't turn into a mean person because then she'll blame that. Just literally set the boundary. Like, let's say the boundary is don't come over on Friday. And then she shows up on Friday, be like, oh, hey, I told you that it's not going to work out, and so I'll let you know when you can come over, and then shut the door on her. Like there is no, I'm sorry, but there is just you said it. You're strong and you're gracious about it. You're strong and like you know what I mean. Like you're not trying to. There's no ego here. You just said it and forget it. And once she kind of falls in line, she can squirm and freak out and angry all she wants. But you are an immovable force. But you're also like not mean about it, because then you don't want to be categorized as just a mean person who's just, she can put you in that box. But if you're just strong and solid, just do it, set it and forget it. She'll have to figure it out.
I think beyond that, it's more like you sound like you want to continue this kind of like gracious energy. If someone's out there is listening right now, go ahead and be mean. Who cares if the person thinks you're like, this is a person who doesn't believe in boundaries. But you sound, dear listener, like someone who's like, how do I continue being gracious? So I hear you in that sense for sure, Ev. It's just so
and it sounds not in your nature. To be someone who's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like you might have those feelings, but it sounds very not much like you're like, should I be that way? Because I don't know. She's not listening. So be true to yourself, but stand strong in your conviction, because this woman is trying to push you. And this is like one of life's tests. And you've got to stay strong. It'll make your life better down the road.
I also, too, just one final note. I also, too, would maybe like sit down and have a heart to heart with your husband, really. And like truly both of you, because he sounds like he's someone you can be so honest with and he gets it and he stands up for you. And I'm just so happy to hear that, because unfortunately that's not the case a lot of times. And yeah, that just makes me happy for you. But I wonder if you two sit down and like genuinely talk about like, do we really want this person in our life? Or is it this like familial guilt that makes us feel like we really want? Because from what it sounds like, your husband's shutting her down constantly, shutting down all the mean shit she's saying about you, speaking going in between for both of you. She's not listening to boundaries. She doesn't believe in them. She's throwing a fit about this, and that. Genuinely, I would ask, do we want this person in our life, or is it a familial guilt?
Yeah.
Because if you land on familial guilt, it's not bad to have a conversation about like, maybe we don't want this person in our life right now. They have absolutely been inappropriate in all these ways, and they won't listen to us. And maybe we can have a final conversation about like, if this doesn't happen, like, we're sorry, but we need to like cut this off for the time being, because this is what situation you're putting us in.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a conversation about that. And then, or if it lands on, you know what, no, we do love her and we do want to make this work, then that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's important to have those conversations, as uncomfortable as they are, to be like, what's guilt and what's like what we really want,
Yeah. No, 100%. Because once you set this precedent, it'll make maybe if you have another kid easier, you know what I mean? Because she'll know the boundaries, or if she's not, whatever it is. So just know that it sucks, but at the same time, it's like you liberating yourself. These hard conversations, these hard moments are for you, not for her. Because you will pay the price for not doing it. You know what I mean? So just know that it's for you, and it's taking care of your family. Yeah. I think that's what's important. Is like, don't flip it to where you think like, I'm having to deal with her. Be like, I'm having to kind of protect my family. And then you can kind of take that into whatever life happens, Yeah. So. Well. Oh, tough though. Sending you so stressful. You should just be focused on the baby, but you're focused on this shit.
And congratulations. And I hope that you're able, like, thinking about you through the delivery and everything, but also that you're able to just have some peace and time that you deserve during this process. But yeah. Sending you so much love.
You got this.
All right. Next one?
Yeah.
Hi, Mom and Dad. This is Anna. I'm a huge fan of the podcast and have been listening to y'all since Chatty Broads days. And now I love you, Evan and Jess. I have a question. So recently, my husband and I started trying to have a baby. And it would be our first one. So basically I've been tracking my period, and we know basically when to try based on the time of the month.
Okay.
Ever since we started having sex to try to have a baby, my husband has, felt the pressure of that, and it's, affecting his performance. Meaning he can't finish because of the pressure of what that means and trying to have a baby. So I just wanted to hear your advice on what to do, what to try to make sure that he is comfortable and that, we maximize our chances of trying to have a little one. So thank you. Look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Anna, first of all, sending you so much love. So this is going to come from the two of us. So we've never been in this specific situation. Yeah. So take, our advice, take what you will of it, but just sending you so much love. Can I share about our wedding?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we haven't been in this specific situation, but on our wedding night, this is getting real vulnerable, Phil. Yeah. On our wedding night, Evan and I had been together intimately quite a bit before our wedding night, but there was something about the idea of leading up to, and I think especially coming from like the Christian background where it's like, it's the wedding night, and we had
not especially like directly related to like this, you're now one, and everything's different now, and this means the world, and it's like
it's all changed.
Yeah.
And we had this amazing wedding. We had a great time. And everywhere you go,
they're like, because they don't even know that we had been hooking up, they're like, here comes the wedding.
That's
Here it comes the night.
Yes, the people didn't know that we had already been hooking up together. And so it was just like everyone's bringing up like, all right, so tonight,
it's gonna be
how's
insane.
it gonna go? And you're like, all these people who had never talked about it before are all of a sudden just like putting the level of pressure on it that's bananas. And so we have our wedding. The wedding is beautiful, wonderful. We go back to our hotel room, and full transparency, Evan and I both really struggled. Whereas in performance energy wise
Yeah.
that had not ever been for us a specific situation.
Right.
And we could not make it happen for a while.
Yeah. No, it was like,
And it was like, what's going on?
Right.
And then there's the realization of like, we're in our heads. There's so much pressure right
yes,
now.
Yes.
And
big
your
time.
body freezes up.
Your body freezes up. And there's this like, so to extrapolate that, he's going, this is the
10.
moment. You know what I mean? I got to perform. And you're trying to tie that with like a biological thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So obviously there's no perfect way. And like, again, we haven't been in your exact situation. We've been in like a version of the performance element.
Yeah.
So he's feeling pressure. He's feeling like, my performance tonight will equal the rest of our lives being different.
Yeah.
And if I don't perform, then I'm going to let her down. I'm going to let my family down.
And he cares deeply.
Sure.
So there's like there's a heavy,
Yes.
there's a weight on the shoulders for sure.
Is there a world, where is there a world where to accomplish this goal, he doesn't know about when things are?
I was just about to say, since you two are on the same page of like, you want to have a baby, so you guys are all consent on that way, like everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
Maybe don't tell him about when.
Right.
It's like, oh, these are my days.
Sure.
And so then he's not in his head.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think that would maybe help.
I think you gotta so maybe you just kind of, and then approach sex the same way every time, so he doesn't think like, you know what I mean? Like if there's a total difference where it's like, hey babe, how's it going? You're on the couch. That's how you normally do it. But then when it comes to like the baby making love, it's like, hey babe, could you have sex with me for the next hour? Because I don't know, I'm just very horny right now. You know what I mean? Like don't like just make it all kind of
similar
the same
energy, if
same
you're
way,
able,
if you're able, and just approach it all, whether the non-planned or the planned, it kind of make it all similar.
I would. I don't know if this is okay. Like I said, I think because you guys are both like a-okay on the consent of like we both are wanting to have this baby. I would say I wouldn't even bring up to him that you're not going to bring it up to him.
Right.
Like just kind of you have your calendar that you're tracking and you guys just keep having sex throughout. And then when you see that those days hit, just keep it as is and not mention to him, if at all possible, that, it's one of the days. And I would imagine, and it might take a little bit of time because he might be in that mind frame, that mindset now where he's like, oh, pressure. So it might take a few weeks to kind of relax that out of him a little bit, where it's like, oh, we're having sex, right? Without then that added pressure there. And yeah, that's the thing that I
maybe mess with verbiage. Let's not even try right now. Because there's the word of like, we're trying. And so maybe like he's hearing trying and that's also tripping. So it's like, you just get away from all things that are the goal and just do the act. Yeah. And then hopefully those will coincide sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, we're no experts in this. So sending you so much love, and all the good energy and encouragement. But yeah, I feel like that would be a potential option. All right, one more?
One more.
Let's do one more.
Hi, Mom and Dad. This is your anonymous daughter, and I have an interesting question for you both. My now husband and I just got married a couple of weeks ago, and we had a super large wedding, like over 200 people with lots of family, and we're finally going through writing out all of our thank you notes. And while going through all of the cards and all the gifts that we've received, which we are so incredibly thankful for, we have found that around 20 couples, so like around 40 people that were at our wedding, did not get us any form of a card, a gift, or anything along those lines. There were also a couple people that dropped out of the wedding like the week before or a couple days beforehand that also haven't sent us a card or anything along those lines either. Of those that did not get us anything include both my maid of honor, his best man, one of our brothers, and multiple of our like very, very close friends, all of whom are like not the types that are scraping pennies together, if you know what I mean. We are both the type of people that just pour into all of our friends and family. So the lack of thought of, again, our very close friends that we talk to like almost every day has just been a little hurtful.
Yeah.
Would really just like to know what you guys would do in this situation, what your thoughts are. Anyway, thank you guys so much and love you both.
Okay. Maybe this is like a bad take because I'm not trying to excuse non-good friend
I know where
behavior.
you're going with this.
No, but to be honest, I think a lot of people don't know wedding etiquette.
Especially the new generation.
Yes,
like
I think
younger
especially
people.
like people who are a little younger where you're like, okay, there's maybe a perspective from your maid of honor, best man, groomsmen, where they're like, okay, we've done, we did the bridal shower, the bachelorette party, we spent money in these ways. And because we're part of the wedding party, we don't know that we also need to get a gift. Now, I think obviously giving a gift, especially like you said too, when you and your husband are like people who pour in and love so hard, like that's going to be doubly hurtful, where you guys are the couple who's always like gift giving and loving and taking care of. So I think there's that heaviness of we give so much and yet like, come on, you guys, what about some love back? And unfortunately, sometimes I think when you are those people who are like the gift givers, the ones who love hard, people can disappoint because sometimes they don't show up in that way. And I'm so sorry because that is so hurtful. But I would, and maybe I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I would hope that maybe specifically like the close friends of yours in the wedding party just maybe don't know the wedding etiquette of, hey, we're also giving gifts, thinking maybe, well, because we're part of this and we did this, and that, that's part of it. I'll be completely transparent with you. I have been to weddings before where I have forgotten to bring a gift because I did the bridal shower. And so I was like, oh, I gave a gift at the bridal shower and I didn't know that you also give a gift at the wedding.
Right.
So then I don't show up with a gift because I was
My
like,
presence is a presence.
That's not the way I thought.
My presence is your present.
That's not the way I thought, but it was a little bit like, oh, I'm at the bridal shower, so here's a gift. And the people who didn't go to the bridal shower show up to the wedding with a gift. But I didn't know it was like, oh, we also give gifts at a wedding. And I think it's a little bit because the weddings I had been to in the past, they didn't have like a table with the gifts. Mm-hmm. So because I didn't see it, there was a little bit like we do this? I know that sounds like an excuse, but I'm hoping maybe that's what it was. Now, some of these people who last minute bailed on you and don't send a card or anything, that's pretty wild behavior to me.
For sure.
And I think if you're listening to this, if you are monetarily able to deliver a gift to whether you're in the wedding party or at the wedding, that is so kind. That is what would be nice. And if you can't afford it monetarily, like give them a card, you know, spread the love. Like this is their wedding. A lot of these people are paying a lot of money for each of you to have a seat in the wedding or at the wedding party and the dinner and everything. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping maybe it's just like an oversight. And if you feel like it's something that's bothering you, I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing it up, especially when you're pouring into these people. Be like, hey, like...
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, because were you laughing? Because you're like, oh, it's going to be disastrous.
It's gonna go up a while. Yeah.
I'm just saying...
Hey, thanks for nothing, you dick.
But I'm just saying, if you feel that way, you're like, hey, do you know how much this wedding cost? And we invited you and... I don't know if it's gonna. I'm always the person who I'm like, if it's gonna fester, I'd rather say something.
Sure. I mean, I agree with my personal opinion is that like if you're in the wedding, the gift is a little bit. I forgive the non-gift because I'm like, you're already spending so much money on like all these different things. So it's like dinners and tuxes and dresses and parties and then trips and like, you know what I mean? Like you can be thousands into a wedding as a person in the wedding. So if I didn't get you a $200 toaster or something, like I personally go. I remember when I had my wedding, when I was in my brother's wedding, I do feel like it's kind of like understood. Like everyone's spending all this money to be a part of my wedding.
Yeah.
I always give forgiveness to like that.
Yeah.
I think that.
But a card, like when I think about our wedding, I'm like, oh, I had one friend of my bridal party that gave me a gift.
Right.
And there were 2 people who wrote me a card.
Yeah.
And that really meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And the other people didn't. And I remember that like, even if you're spending all this money, it would be, and a card is nice on like a special,
Super nice.
a special day.
Super
like
nice.
that.
And I think that, deep down, like you always want that. But like the reality is that most people are just kind of in their own lives thinking about stuff. And I know it hurts to hear, but it's like the reality is too, is that most people are just doing their own life, doing their own thing. And then like the day of your wedding, they're like, oh shit, what time's the wedding? You know what I mean? That's just the reality. And you might not be that way. Mm-hmm. You might be extra sensitive to everyone's feelings and also very thoughtful and caring. And so because of that, it feels unfair, which it probably is. But the reality is most people are just running around with their head cut off energy. And so this is more of a message to myself, because sometimes I can feel this way, which is like, don't take it too personal. Yeah. No one's not giving you a gift because they hate you.
Right. Sure,
it's just that they got caught up in their own shit. Probably I would say that unless there's like a legitimate beef, they saw the thing and we got to get a gift for them. Oh, yeah, anyway, what time was that thing? And then, the gift never came. And as it's hurtful to hear that, but it is the reality of life, is that most people are just kind of got their head in their own world, and that is what it is. And so, it sucks. I personally would forgive maybe like the best man, maid of honor, for not spending, if they already spent a bunch of money on the thing itself. But when it comes to the other people, it's like, yeah, it sucks, dude. Like people, especially in those environments, can disappoint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's one of those things. And I think, how long you either talk to someone like you were saying, or you got to just forget it and move on, because you're going to be the one paying the price. Yeah. You're going to be the one ruminating about it. You're going to be the one thinking about it, being frustrated, being sad. And there is a level where it's like water off the back. At some point, people are going to disappoint you, and that happens. And
you take all those specific people, those I think 22 people you said that didn't give you a gift, send them invites to a holiday party with a random address in it, and when they show up, it's empty, and you're like, fucking psych.
Psych. You say,
or like, hey, we're doing a holiday party, we're taking the white elephant gifts in advance, make the white elephant gifts $100 minimum,
yes.
Send them into this address first, and then we're all gonna, and then when they show up for the holiday party, you're like, there's nothing there, psych, and you take all the gifts.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Very intricate, a lot of work, but I love the intention. You know what I mean? The revenge gifts. Get my gifts either way. Or just text them all in a group and say, you owe me.
Yeah, just
you know
one big group text.
You know what's a nice petty? You know what's a nice petty one?
What?
If you have a registry, just text them a registry again.
Oh, that's funny. That's
just
really
text
funny.
it to them and say something like, saw you didn't get a chance. Thought I'd send you a reminder. I know life's crazy. Just like a total, what do you call it? Like a passive aggressive,
yes.
Oh my gosh, I totally get it. Life's so busy. Love you all. Just thought I'd send you the link to kind of, get ahead of it.
Yes. That's it.
And guilt them into buying you shit.
And there you go. That's your answer.
That's the healthy thing to do.
That's the healthy thing to do. Well, family, thank you for the spicy the spicy stories and for those questions. Hope we were able to be of some help.
Yes.
Please tune in next week to our D&D, our Dungeons and Dragons episode. I promise you it will be a good one. I am very, very excited for this episode. We love you all. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.
Kisses forever.
Kisses forever. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.